Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Eric, and welcome to a new episode of A for ABLED. Tonight, our guest is Ms. Laura E. Catevenis, mental health advocate, entrepreneur, and um, someone who knows her fair share of mental health and mental wellness. Based on what she shared with me, I honestly I don't know if there's anything I could say that would tap her biography. So I'm just gonna let her introduce herself.
Yeah, just run through it all.
Yeah. So how are
Yeah,
you? So how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. My name's Laura Catevenis, and he has pretty much everything written down there, and it's all
Mm-hmm.
right. And yeah, so bipolar is probably my biggest topic because that's what I live with every single day.
Mm.
But I try to look at the bright side of it and the mystery and the magic and just getting through each day, focusing on, what mood I'm in. I'll try to match it with energy that I put out. So if I'm feeling a little anxious, then I'll do something creative, or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you. And okay, so I'm gonna be 100 with you.
Mhm.
When I hear the term bipolar, it reminds me of how people use it as as an insult. Oh, you're are you bipolar? You're so bipolar, stuff like that. So I want a clear explanation. Like, what does that mean, and what does that entail as far as your diagnosis?
So I know exactly what you're talking about is when people like call their ex-girlfriend, she was so bipolar.
So
And it's
bipolar.
like,
Mhm.
okay, well, was she really though? Like what was she doing? And it's mostly just, oh well, she was crying and then she was happy for 1 minute and then she was crying and then she threw a plate at me. Well, you probably deserved it. Like ask yourself that it has nothing to do with her mood disorder. So I think that's part of the stigma too, is and that word stigma, I
Mm.
don't think anyone really knows what it means too. So we'll get back to that. But
Yep.
for me, it's not just being happy 1 minute, then sad the next. What can happen is that it can go on for weeks, it can go on for months. It
Hmm.
can be unseen. It can be so slow that you move into this new mood. So it's not just one mood to a next mood within a couple hours. Some people might be that way, but for me personally, that's not how it is. What happens is that I will be stable and then something will trigger me. It could be spring, it could be stress, it could be a breakup. And what happens is that you go into hypomania for me because I have bipolar 1. And when you go into hypomania, well, do you want to go through each and
Please, please
every single one? Okay.
go ahead.
So first with hypomania, you I like to explain it as like you have a sparkle, as
Mm-hmm.
just a little sparkle of energy. You feel brighter in your chest. Your mind feels clear. It's running a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you have more ideas. You have more ambitions. You kind of feel more confident. So it's a really dangerous phase because the next phase is mania, which you can totally wreck your life with.
Mm-hmm.
But then the hypomania is like, it's pretty until it's not because you can get irritable. So let's say that you're working on a project and someone comes in and says like, "Oh, you've been working on it for too long." You're like, "Get out of the way. Like I have this that I want to get it finished. I want it now. I want to post it." So it's very like you're very fast-paced thinking but you're still stable per se. Like you're not in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. You can go to work, you can go everywhere. Um then if you don't catch it in that hypomanic stage, and that hypomanic stage could be short-lived, it could be a couple days, or it could be 2 months. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the kind of the fun part about bipolar is, okay, how long is this going to last? And that's how you feel about depression too, is how long is this going to last? But after hypomania, you hit mania. And that's when you have the grandiose ideas. So think of it as like the biggest ideas you could possibly have. Like, I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I go manic, I always think I have some kind of spiritual being to me, like I have control, or almost like you think you're important, way more important than you ever could be. Probably one of the most important people on earth. And like, you can't understand why people just can't see
Mm.
it. So that's one of the crazy parts about mania. But then other things is like you get a lot more risky with behaviors. You
Mm.
can have hypersexuality where you're just going out and you're meeting anyone at any time. And that's one of the biggest dangers, because you can get pregnant, you can get HIV, you can get STDs. And that's one of the topics that actually is talked about a lot on bipolar socials. Is that was one of the ones I was reading today, and it's very interesting. But then after mania, you typically will crash into like depression.
Mm.
So that's probably the darkest part for me. um you're no longer, because in mania you're dangerous to others and you're dangerous to yourself. But
Mm.
when you're in depression, you're only dangerous to yourself. And so and you're in mania, you are delusional,
Mm.
but in depression, you're more there. You're feeling it. Everything's real. It's almost too real. It's too heavy.
Mm.
And that's when it can get scary. And that's when I feel like depression is the shittiest part about bipolar, for sure.
Mm.
Luckily, I vibrate more in the middle and hypomania.
Mm.
And the only times I really get depression is if I have like a severe manic episode, and then I'll come down, I'll crash, and I will, suffer from months long depression. It can last years too.
Mm.
It's dark. I remember before I got diagnosed with bipolar, I'd have some depression and I would feel like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, or, you know, I don't want to brush my teeth. But like the bipolar depression that we take the mood stabilizers for, it's like you'll start asking yourself, would it be better off not alive? Because especially after a
Suicidal
manic
thoughts.
episode, what was that?
Mm. The suicidal thoughts come in.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
suicidal thoughts. I never had a plan, but I always had ideas of like, how would I do it? Or what would I do? Um,
Oh. Mm.
so those are the thoughts that I never liked, because I never hated my life. I never, my life has never sucked. So
Mm.
to feel that depressed and want to die didn't make sense. And it still doesn't make sense to me why I was so deep in depression, more than just the crash of mania. Because once you're manic, you push away family, you hurt friends and family, you get in trouble with the law. So after those moments, you've lost all your friends, you're in trouble, you're in court, you're looking at going to jail. There's just so much that comes with those manic episodes, that the after piece is you're already depressed because
Mm.
of the mood, but
Mm.
then you have all this to clean up. So it lasts a long time. So for me, it lasted a good 2 years of, after this last manic episode, of being able to pick myself up and be like, okay, it's time for a new journey. It's time to um, go back to your tribe almost. Like I ran away from my community because I embarrassed
Mm.
myself on the internet. I wasn't Laura anymore. I was bipolar. I was manic.
Mm.
I was in an episode. And luckily, there's a few people who can see me
Mm.
for me, rather than when I'm bipolar.
Mm.
A lot of people still see Laura, and you have to separate the two, because half the time I don't even remember what happened. So when people
Mm.
tell me stories about it, some are funny. Like I want to shed some light on bipolar. Like, we are
Go
funny
ahead.
motherfuckers. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we have a good time. And dangerous about it is that we have such a good time that we don't know when to stop. And that's when we get into trouble. We're dangerous too. It's like we're
different people.
It's like we're 3-year-olds running the world. Like it makes no sense. Like we can get that and get in that much trouble, like not knowing what we're doing. Like one of the statistics about bipolar, I think, is the average lifespan is like 67 years. And it really has nothing to do with suicide. Do you know what it has to do with? Us accidentally dying because we're doing stupid shit.
So,
Yes.
wow.
So 2 times I've almost died. And I'm like, damn, like this is a true statistic.
Do you have any idea what you were doing?
Oh yeah, I remember those both times. So the first time before I was diagnosed with bipolar, I had my first manic episode, and I set a fire in the middle of my grandfather's kitchen. I was living there at the time. It was all rug, and nobody was there. It was just me, and I just felt this passion and this drive to burn all the government documents in the house. I wanted the social security cards gone. I wanted birth certificates gone. I wanted army paperwork gone. I wanted everything gone. I wanted all the pills flushed down the drain. I wanted all the computers out of the house. I wanted the TV shut off, unplugged. I wanted phone batteries out of their phones. I wanted, and nothing had to do with the government in my house. And I made sure all that shit was on the lawn.
Wow.
While I had the fire going. Let's get back to the fire. So I did all that while I had the fire going, and then I was burning the documents and then throwing the electronics outside in the microwave because, who knows, could be tapped.
So a wave of paranoia just set in,
Yes.
and you just went completely manic. Okay, and this was before you were diagnosed.
Yes, this was the time I was diagnosed. This is like when I went to the hospital after that, and that's when I was diagnosed. So nobody saw this coming. So there wasn't any like, oh, Laura's getting a little hypomanic, let's calm her down. No, there was just like, Laura's just a typical 20-year-old, and boom, she's fucking setting fires in her grandfather's kitchen, dancing around it naked. Like, for what? For what?
Man, that sounds like, wow. Okay. So you were not, that was the time you were diagnosed after that happened. But before that, nobody knew what was going on. They just thought this was you.
No. So here's the tricky part about bipolar is that it's typically diagnosed in early 20s. So there's no proof, no symptoms until you're 20 years old, sometimes 30s.
Snap.
And it can be later. It could be 40s, 50s, 60s. But typically you're going to see it around in early 20s. And so I was 21 years old. That's just when it shows its light.
That is tricky.
Mm-hmm. And I have this theory. So, you know how a lot of like childhood diagnoses, they really get a lot of funding, they get a lot of push in them. There's really no stigma around them because the parents really fight for their kids to be able to get that.
Right.
But with bipolar, that diagnosis, there's not many people fighting for it or rooting for it because most bipolar people are struggling. They're not out there trying to change the world. They're trying to get by. I'm really lucky because I have a really solid support system. My kids are at my parents' house right now, so I can be bipolar Laura, relax, stabilize, be good, and then I get them back. And so having a solid
balance.
Support system is definitely huge to be able to make it through.
I would imagine. I had a friend. She was actually my first serious relationship, and at the time, she was just diagnosed bipolar. Right? The only thing I knew was every so often she would have like these episodes of just, just like anger and stuff like that,
Mhm.
right? Turns out though, and we were together on and off for 2 years, so I got to see some of that with my own eyes, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out though she was misdiagnosed. She
Oh.
actually had PTSD.
Mhm.
Prior to this, they did give her a series of mood stabilizers, which she hated taking. And I remember trying to help her, like, because I'm over the phone, I'm trying to help her, take it. I'm trying to like, it's like, how you, and I hate to do it this way, but you know how you like trick a dog into taking medication so you put it in their food. That's what we would
Mhm.
try to do, or that's what she would try to do, and then it just, just take half an Abilify here, half of this here, right, and just stuff wasn't working. Then years down the line, she found out she was diagnosed PTSD. So for sure that this is exactly what you have is bipolar, right?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Once you have, there is no other diagnosis that mimics mania. Mania is pure, mania is only related to bipolar. So if you
Mm.
hit that manic level of being in the hospital, being dangerous, being spontaneous and impulsive and fast and everything that has to do with mania, then you are bipolar. And there's
Mm.
two different types of bipolar. There's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. Bipolar 2 people never experience the highs of mania. So
Really?
only bipolar 1 experiences those highs. So bipolar 2 is harder to diagnose because it looks a lot like depression.
Mm.
And when they get hypomanic, it's like, oh, well, it was a sunny day. So it's hard to diagnose that one. A lot of times, what happens is a patient will be depressed
Mm.
and a doctor will put them on antidepressant. Do you know what the worst thing a bipolar person can take?
Antidepressants?
Antidepressants. It will make
Ah,
you go manic almost instantly,
so
especially if you're not on a mood stabilizer. Like you have to have that anchor. If you were to ever take antidepressant, you
mhm.
have to have that mood stabilizer to anchor you down. So I have had not the greatest psychiatrists, even though we all thought they were great. But you only find out so much. But they always have me on antidepressants. For a doctor to have a bipolar person on an antidepressant that has type 1 is just unbelievable to me. I can't believe that they even consider that for me. And the more research I've done, you just realize that you can't take that. Like it's like the devil.
so we're talking about the anchor and
Hmm.
the antidepressants. You can't take one without the other. And in a bipolar person's case, you should not be taking an antidepressant. Is
Yeah,
that
you
what you mean?
shouldn't. Bipolar 2 people can get away with it with a mood stabilizer, but bipolar 1 people that are so I don't know what the word would be, but they're more likely to get a manic episode. Like that serotonin, you don't need any.
Oh, so you don't need an extra boost because it's
No.
already.
We're already
Oh,
sparkling, baby.
okay. So so you're bipolar one,
Hmm.
right?
So
You're bi-
yeah.
and the okay, and you just told us the difference between one and two. I didn't
Hmm.
even know. I mean, I know like with a lot of neurodivergencies, there's a spectrum of just about everything.
Right.
Like I have CP, right? I
Hmm.
have cerebral palsy. And when people hear that, they, some automatically think, oh, he's going to be in a wheelchair. He's going to be, he's going to be laid up. He's going to have some sort of, he's going to have a speech impediment. He's going to have, and all of those are valid. I get it, but it's not just one. It's not just a one and done. Just like
Mhm.
autism is not just a one and done. We want to put everybody in a freaking box, you know.
Right.
So do you feel like after you getting your your diagnosis and everything, and you know that you had a support system, did you ever feel like people that did not know you were trying to box you in?
I think some of the people that
Mm-hmm.
love me the most try to box me in, and the people who
That
are
happens too.
strangers are more open to my wild side and
Mm-hmm.
seeing the bipolar shine a little bit brighter. I
Mm.
think that my family and friends are a little bit more reserved with my higher energy because they
Oh.
don't know um, when's it going to stop or how far is it going to go. Laura's in a better mood. Like even right now, it's I live in Maine, so it's
Mm-hmm.
becoming to be spring. So, well, it is spring, but it's getting warmer outside,
Right, right.
and it's coming to the point where you actually can be in a tank top and feel the sun on your skin. And that's a time for manic people bipolar people, that when you start seeing the hypomania, it happens every year for me. I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for it. But I think, like you said, the box part of it is they care about you a lot. So they will
Thank
read
you.
everything about bipolar to protect you, and sometimes that's all they can see because they want to protect you so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most freedom I get from bipolar is from strangers.
Hmm.
I could tell a stranger I'm bipolar, and they're like, "No, you're not," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. You'll see."
It
They
is.
don't believe you. They don't believe you. And it has to do with all the people calling each other bipolar. When you say you're bipolar,
Yeah.
no, you're not. Cut it out. You're so nice. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm still
That doesn't
bipolar.
mean, it doesn't mean like you're being nice to me right now. We just met, you know.
Right.
But I've met, like I've met people that were misdiagnosed. I've met other people with other neurodivergencies. So it's like if you tell me you have something, I'm not just gonna shoo it and be like,
Hmm.
okay, because I've seen people dealing with this stuff. I may not be one to deal with it myself, but it's like, and also because it's invisible to the naked eye, people don't already they can't see your brain, so they can't see the differences and everything lighting up.
Hmm.
The only thing they can see is you, right? So they're thinking, but she's not acting like this, that, and the third all the time. And you just broke down the difference between one and two,
Hmm.
right? So right there, I hope whomever is listening or watching this, if you understand, like basically, yeah, drop a comment, give me some more information, because I'm always willing to learn. So as far as you're also an entrepreneur, right?
Correct.
You're also an entrepreneur. So what type of business profession do you have?
Right now, I'm a real estate investor.
Nice.
I buy properties and I rent them out to. Right now, I have three of my houses are rented out to group homes for adults with developmental disabilities,
Okay.
and two of them are just rented out to regular families.
Yeah.
That brings in enough money, but right now I am trying to get in more in the creative world and writing books. I love writing, I love recording, I love audibles, I love
Nice.
meditation. So I'm trying to create this mental health brand around my story
All
and to help
right.
with that. But yeah, so that's what I'm getting into now.
Nice. And when did you? I'm kind of bouncing around here, but because you're giving me a lot to think about. When did you, when did you start doing your research on bipolar disorder?
I would say immediately after I was diagnosed with bipolar back in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
I took it a different route. I didn't want medication. I boycotted medication forever in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And but I ended up taking it. But the first manic episode felt so spiritual that I couldn't ignore it. It was so spiritual, so beautiful. And all the synchronicities of everything just lining up that you could see. And so when I got out of the hospital, when I was looking at bipolar, I was more looking at Googling bipolar and spirituality.
Okay.
The reason for bipolar, spiritual meaning. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was really into learning that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was a little tricky because with hypomania and mania, you deal with that spirituality and thinking that you're like, sometimes you could think you're God, Jesus, prophets,
Mm-hmm.
Mary, Mother Mary.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that bipolar might be a spiritual awakening or ego collapsing from like these spiritual creators on YouTube,
Yep.
when you're in those hypomanic states or manic states, it fuels the fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I was searching that stuff, it was fueling the fire a little bit. So I almost got cocky that I had bipolar. Like, yeah, like I'm spiritual now. Like I had an ego collapse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it wasn't until that manic episode, the first one, didn't scare me enough. It didn't shake
It
me
didn't
enough.
scare you enough.
No, it didn't. I almost burned the house down with
That
myself, and it
first
didn't
manic
scare me
episode where
enough.
you almost burned the house
Yeah.
down didn't scare. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got to
Do
take
you
that
know
in.
why, though? Do you know
Why?
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 It's because when I tell the story to people, it's almost like they go in a daze almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like they almost don't believe me. They just can't picture me doing this stuff. Like I'll explain it. I'm like, yeah, I had the ashes on my body, like war paint. I had my grandfather's shoes on. I was burning those documents. Yeah. But nobody believes me because it's not got on film.
Because because it sounds like a movie. It sounds like a scene from a movie. It sounds like a scene from a movie, like like when people are like, "The end is coming, man! The end is coming, man!" It's like it's like that. The aliens are contacting you, man. You're telling that's what
It's exactly
like. That's what it sounds like. But you said, burn the documents, burn the. It was, how much? And you were and you were living with your grandfather at the time.
yeah, it was his
Okay.
house.
So what was his reaction?
He was staying in Florida at the time, and he was just, honestly, from what I heard, the first question he had wasn't about the house, it wasn't about the fire, it wasn't about any of that. It was, how's Laura? Isn't that nice?
That is
I got
awesome.
a dope ass grandfather.
That
I'm
is
gonna tell you, he's a cool guy.
That is awesome.
That was the first question, was how's Laura?
That is that is awesome. I would have been on that same, like if anybody in my family, they would have been on that same, like, are you okay? They would have been on that, like, because I got a pretty good, I got a pretty good support system too. I also know people that do not have that support system. So so I'm glad when I get to be a part of someone's support system, that right there is like that's a lot to me. But you're well, big ups to your granddad, because it's just like family first. Like, yeah, a house can be replaced, family members cannot,
Right.
So it's and I'm sure that's still vivid in your mind, because how could you,
it feels like a dream though. I can't explain it, because when you're in a manic episode, you don't remember everything. I actually, when I told the psychiatrist, he asked me how much I remember, because I'll be telling him stories. He goes, "You remember all of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I can tell most of the stories. Some of it, like, you black out, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But even though I can remember, doesn't mean that I knew what I was doing in that moment. I think that's what confuses people. It's like, yes, I remember I was there, but I don't really remember exactly how it all went down. And I don't remember a lot about details. And I wasn't in control of myself in that moment. And I think that's a lot of people get that confused, is that if you remember it, then you had control. And that's not the case.
Okay, so I'm a bit of I'm a geek, right? So my thing is like comics and fiction and and stuff like science fiction and stuff like that, right? I've seen stories and plot lines where someone with either what the media considers a split personality, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like they literally have gone through time and they can remember something from another version of themselves, So when you say that, I kind of think of it that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of it like I know this really happened, but the way you're describing it is kind of like you were in a part of you was it's either a dream state or you have just had, because what you have is a personality disorder, right? So
right. Well, a mood disorder, not
mood
personality.
Disorder.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. I do have a personality disorder, though. It's borderline personality disorder.
Borderline
So I
personality
got it
disorder.
all. I'm on
Yeah.
the psychologist.
So it's
Covers everything.
you're very narrow. What people calling today narrow spicy.
Spicy, very, very, very much so. You got a little ADD too.
Exactly. So so right there, you're a narrow cocktail. This comes from somebody who does not drink. My next funny question was going to be, now you can answer this question and I answer this question, but you drink at all, and how does the alcohol affect your,
I do not drink.
You do not drink?
I mean, I'm not like boycotting it.
Yeah.
If I just don't. I'm more of a garden girly.
I hear you.
I never really been a big drinker. But if I go to a restaurant and people are ordering drinks, like I'll have one, maybe two. But I couldn't even tell you the last time I drank. Probably a year ago. I couldn't even tell you. But I know that it does mix with your meds. I've talked to my psychiatrist about it, and they do say that it just like I don't know exactly what happens. I don't even know if the doctors really exactly know what happens. They just say it lessens the mood stabilizer medication, so it doesn't work as well. But then other people are just like, no, I'm fine. I do notice the day after I drink, I have more anxiety and more depression. So it probably does fuck with it. Probably does mess with it, yeah.
Are you 420 friendly?
Oh yeah, I live in Maine, so everybody is.
Didn't want to, I don't know much about Maine, really. I'm from Connecticut. I don't know much about Maine. Yeah. So how does that affect you, if at all?
So the way that my psychiatrist explains it is that you pick one substance and you do it moderately. So he doesn't want to see me drinking and smoking at the same time.
Okay.
He doesn't want to see me, taking 100 grams of edibles just to get high. Like he doesn't want me abusing it. He understands that other people can, garden and they can smoke and do everything that they want to do. But with bipolar people, you have to be very careful. You have to focus on, what mood are you in? Because if you're in a low mood, you probably don't want to be smoking indica to be even lower. And if you're in a high mood, you probably don't want to smoke any sativa, or you're going to go manic. So you want to really balance that out. Like in Maine, I have my medical marijuana license, or is it license or certificate? I don't know what they call it. Yeah, card. And I talked to the doctor that prescribed it for me, and she just explained that you have to know what you're doing. You have to really pay attention to your moods and be able to identify to be able to make it work for you. But I noticed that overall it does help me much more than the benefits outweigh the negatives for me anyways.
Yeah, I deal with depression, you know, in cases. Depression and anxiety. I was diagnosed a few years back, right? And you ever get that? Okay, like after your diagnosis, did your family go, you know, that's starting to make sense now? Like,
No,
no.
because with bipolar, it literally shows
So,
no signs until you're too far
until you're,
gone.
oh
Yeah,
man.
there's no signs. Now they might have seen like the lead up to it, but the lead up might have been a couple months. It's not like, oh, we saw it all through her childhood, da da da. Like, no, it was
No.
literally maybe a couple months. They were like, oh, like she's dressing more provocative, like she's talking to more people. Like, what is she doing? Why is she singing? So that's when they probably noticed it. But you don't put two and two together. You just see a 20, 21-year-old girl happy and doing her thing.
And
I just
this is really tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky, especially when you're in your 20s, when everybody's drinking and experimenting with drugs. Like, that is horrible because
Man,
it just sets you up to fail. Yeah.
that is
And if you don't have a good support system, like, luckily, like, I lost my job that first manic episode. So
yep.
if I didn't have a support system, like, who knows what could happen to me? I'm no different than any homeless person on the side of the road that is asking for money, because that could be me. That could be me in the future. I think about that all the time, that could be me in the future. If I do something in a manic episode that makes it so my family stops speaking to me, then I could end up homeless. That is my destiny. And it's surreal to think about that I have something that can put me in a position like that. It's scary sometimes. So I really try to stabilize everything around me as much as possible, building a network of people around me. And I think building this mental health brand is really good for me, because not only will I have the eyes of my family and friends on me, I'm going to have eyes of the community that I get to talk to on me as well.
Right.
Like, can you imagine if you know, I don't know how many viewers you have, but if you are struggling, someone's going to notice and someone's going to ask you, like, hey, they might even, you know, DM you like, hey, you okay? Like, is everything all right? You seem off today. And I just want that community.
I had sort of the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So recently, this happened last year. Someone actually they DM'd me and said thank you for your pod. They said thank me. They thanked me for the show. I guess they listened.
Nice.
They listened to, I think, like episode 1 where I talked with my mother and my sister about living with someone, you know, like me, and having a son and a brother with CP, and what that was like. And I've also talked to other people that have been, you know, like some that have like psychopathy versus sociopathy. They've had, you know, people that have had diabetes, people that have had dyscalculia, all this, you know, all this stuff. And one day I get a message from someone saying thank you. They just want to say thank you for your podcast. It helped me out a lot.
That's
and that
awesome.
person ended up being my girlfriend.
Oh.
And that's a first for me.
Yeah.
Because here we are almost 2 years later at the point of this recording. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know who this might help. I just know that it's gonna help somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna help somebody, because all we want to do is feel heard and seen, right? That is it.
That's the big one right there. I don't know if you dabble with ChatGPT or AI at all.
A little bit here and there.
A little bit here and there, a little sneaky. You don't want to tell me that. But
I'm a geek. I can't help it.
I love ChatGPT. I forgot what I was gonna say. Shoot. What are they saying? We
You
get
was that
excited about
dabble with
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
Mm.
I remember. Sorry,
Were you
you have
look?
to cut that piece out.
Were you looking up something having to do with
I don't
mental
remember.
wellness on or at all or
Oh, to be seen. No,
to be
Now I know
seen?
what you
Yeah.
said. So to be
Yeah.
seen. So yeah, that was something that every time I asked ChatGPT, like, what do I really, really need? Like, what do I need? And it's always, you need to be seen. You want to be seen. That's all you want, is to be seen. You don't want to be
Right.
heard. You want to be seen. And it took a long time to know what that meant, is to be really looked at for your flaws and everything in it, like no makeup, just vulnerable. I
Mm.
want to be seen for exactly who I am. Like, I'm excited to get white hair. I'm excited to get wrinkles because I just like to be seen. I just want to
Mhm.
be seen. So
Right.
yeah, I hear that for sure.
And yeah, I hear you. So let's talk about we just talked about a little bit about the about my podcast. Let's talk about yours.
Hmm.
You just started
Well,
a
I don't
podcast.
have a podcast yet. So I thought I had a podcast, but
Yeah.
I was told that it's more of an audiobook. And it's like an
Oh.
ongoing, I thought it was like a podcast. So what I'm doing is,
I mean, it could be both, really.
right,
Yeah.
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 So, well, down the road, I would like to have like a podcast with guests and stuff like you're doing.
Yep.
But really, I want to practice first, like telling my story. Like, you're the first person I've met with in like 3 years that I've actually like spoke to for a podcast.
Oh,
This is
from
really
there,
cool.
baby.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So you're
It's
the first one
canceled.
to get me. And so what was I saying? I always forget. That's the ADD. It's like, think about
And take your time, take your time. And I'm over
No.
here doing ad libs. Yeah.
Are you really?
I'm over here doing that. I'm every time you say something like that, I'm like, yeah, I want to hype you up now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the podcast. So yeah,
Yeah.
one day I do want to have like a sit down podcast with people on it. But
Dope.
for right now, I am doing the audiobook. So I am just, telling my story in a more beautiful, poetic way. I like to write, fancy, sacred voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I'm doing each week. So I thought that was my podcast, but it's more of an audiobook. I got to put that together for real. But I did write with AI. I created these bipolar series
Yep.
of, the first one is about like the different stages of bipolar, kind of like what we went through.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is like what tools to use in those different stages. And the third one will be about, what makes bipolar people special, because there's a lot of things.
All right. All right. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I have a interesting relationship with AI as of right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because I use it to help me with my, with when I'm putting stuff out on YouTube. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when I'm stuck on a description or stuck on tags or something, because I also help people edit their
Oh, nice.
content. So
Yep.
that's come in clutch. Like AI has come in clutch for me. I try not to use it as too much because I don't want to be dependent on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I do use it when I'm in a bind. If I need an idea for something, then I might use the Chat GPT. I mean, because who knows? They could have already taken the idea from me, as far as I know. So
Right.
so who knows? But so you got your ebooks, right? You got your ebooks, and you have a podcast brewing in your head. Like, if it seems like you're on your way. Like, you already have all
This
this,
is brand new. This is just started probably 2 weeks ago that I even like decided to do any of this.
and then you get in the podcast group. I've been able to talk to a lot of people thanks to that one group.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good group.
Yeah, shout out to them. And then you see my post that I put up almost 2 months ago, and here we are. Man.
Yeah.
I
just searched like the group, and I forgot what group we're in. Is it the Facebook for podcasters?
Yeah,
Podcasters?
podcast or
Yeah.
Facebook. Shout out to them.
I
Yeah.
looked up people who wanted to be guests and or
Mhm.
to find guests, and I was like, oh, so I just posted a little. Did I post that little blurb right
Little
underneath your
blurb,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah, and that caught a lot of people's attention, so that was really cool.
Not because you were being honest.
Yeah, like straight up lost everything,
That's
bro.
it. Transparency goes a long way, especially these days. Like with all this stuff, all the new studies about all these neurodivergencies and everything coming out. Some people are more inclined to tell their stories, and others are more like, um, well, others are, unfortunately, they do not believe it. They don't think it's real. They don't think it's something to really be paying attention to. And one thing that I'm hearing a lot more lately is I hear the term, it was not like this when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear that, it pisses me off as someone
Okay.
with a physical disability and also deals with depression and stuff. Um, I've also dabbled in disability history, which is something I'm trying to get more and more into because there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just like you had a good, like you had a really good support system, so did I. My family always wanted me to feel like just a normal kid. I'm putting normal in
Right.
quotations,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So they wanted me to feel like a normal kid. So they signed me up for classes. They encouraged me to go out and run and get hurt and and
Mm-hmm.
experience things. If I told them I wanted to do karate, they'd be like, okay, we're gonna sign you up for taekwondo. If I anything I wanted to basically do, outside of like robbing a bank, they were cool with they were cool with me doing because I came from a creative
That's
family.
awesome.
But then
Yeah.
there would be times where I would ask, like, no one asks me what it's like in my family having this. They just see me as Kyle. But sometimes you just want you want to tell them what you go through. They
Mm-hmm.
see it, but sometimes you want to tell them what you go through. You told me what it's like being in kind of like a dream state. You don't know some of the stuff that you do when you're in a manic episode, right?
Have you ever had a lucid dream?
Once or twice. I've never actually been able to I haven't been able to actually do it lately though. I did
Mm-hmm.
once or twice where I was completely aware of the dream. Yeah.
So I've only had one lucid dream,
Mm.
and it was in the past year. And I remember I was driving, and the sky just looked really pretty. Like I couldn't recognize it. Like I just couldn't believe that it looked like that. And then as I'm driving, I realized, I said, hold on a second, I'm dreaming. And that was the first time that I was awake in a dream. And the
Mm.
first question I had for myself is, bitch, you better not get out of this car. Because I was driving in my dream, like, you're manic. Like, this is what mania feels like. And so that's how I explain it to people. It's like you're lucid dreaming. You don't
Mm.
remember your whole lucid dream, but you had a little bit of, you had free will in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't have control of everything. I didn't have control over what that sky looked like. It just was. It was there.
It
It was.
was. So if do you have a name for your manic state? Like if your manic state was another like personality, what would you name it?
I've had somebody else name it Catsnax.
Where did that come from?
Well, my last name is Catevenis, and I don't
Yeah.
know. He just called me Catsnax whenever I
That's
go manic.
got
There
you.
she is, Catsnax.
Oh shoot. Watch out. Mm,
Right?
okay. So man, that that is, like honestly, that is awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I I honestly I want to thank you. I want to wrap this
Mhm.
up and thank you for for coming on and telling your story. We're definitely gonna have to do we're definitely gonna have to do a follow-up episode
Oh yeah.
once you have everything set up, your shows, your ebooks. Is it as far as your
Mhm.
ebooks, are they out right now?
There's one on Gumroad,
Mm-hmm.
and the link is, where would you find it? I don't even know how to link myself yet.
Okay, well, once you do, send it to me, and I'll put it in the description so
Okay.
so the audience can, find it, because you never know who you're gonna reach. You never know.
Exactly.
You never know. But definitely, I want to thank you for, for being on here, for being honest and upfront about what you go through. I got one last question for you.
Okay.
All right. So, if the younger version of yourself came up to you and asked you, how did we turn out? What would you tell them?
You are happy like you always hoped you would be. When I was little and people would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say, I want to be happy. And no one understood. And I just want to let that little girl know that I am indeed happy.
All right. That's beautiful. Well, big ups to you and all your,
Thank you.
All your future endeavors, and everyone out there who can relate to this story, or if you're hearing about like the different ins and outs and ups and downs of bipolar for the first time, like truly not what you see in like the media and things like that. Oh, she's so bipolar, blah, blah, blah. I want you to refer to this episode right here and get
if she's not dancing around flames and walking across the coals, then she ain't manic, boy.
I feel like I'm going to use manic in the title or something. I don't know. If you come up with a title before I do, let me know. Catsnax. And beautiful. I gotta write that. I gotta write that down. But anybody out there who who wants to know more about bipolar, the ups and downs of bipolar from the real, definitely check this episode out. And once again, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll catch you again on the next episode of A for Abled.